In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the numerical data description, data descriptions that go with the slides for chapter 3 of our text. In order to do that, I've got a data set here of a hypothetical income distribution where we've got a lot of different families and their family income. And what we're going to want to do here is describe this distribution, look at it visually, which is something we already know how to do with a histogram, but also come up with some good numerical descriptions. In order to do that, we're going to need to tell Excel how to look at a large set of data, and we can do that by looking at any number of functions that Excel has built into it. So we're going to talk today briefly about how to actually use those functions and how to refer to large sets of data so that Excel knows how to operate on the data you're interested in. So first, recognize that any one of the cells in an Excel spreadsheet operate as an individual calculator and can execute functions on their own. That is, if I wanted the minimum of a set of data, I would only need to find the function Excel calls in order to calculate a minimum and then tell it what data I'm interested in. Similarly, I could click on a particular cell and then in the function toolbar here, which will allow you to look more carefully at long or extended functions, I could also type that same equation, and when I hit enter, it would evaluate that function and put the answer in my cell. So I'm going to show you how to do this for a variety of data sets, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways of referring to large amounts of data. The first, we're going to learn we need to begin by typing any equation in with an equal sign and then type in that equation. So I'm going to say equals, and min is the function that I'm looking for. Now, as soon as I type min, Excel is going to come up with a variety of options that have the letters min in it for me, and the one I'm looking for is the minimum value. And so I can see the options here by clicking on any one of these. Excel will describe what that function actually does. When I found the one I want, I can either type a left parenthesis, I can click that, or I can hit the tab key, and the highlighted option will put that left parenthesis in there for me. You can do this even as you begin to type in functions. Excel will throw out some potential options for you, and tab will auto-complete that function. Once I have min selected here, I'm going to need to put in the range of data I'm interested in, and there's a couple of different ways I can do that. The first is to mechanically select that data, and I can do that by selecting cell B2 and using our trick to hit Control Shift and down. Notice that will go from B2 to B2267, and Excel indicates that we're going to get everything in that range by not only highlighting it, but also by putting a colon between the first cell and the last cell in that range. If we wanted to do this on our own, we could type min parenthesis B2 colon B2267 right parenthesis, and when we hit enter, Excel will put in that minimum value for us. One other way of doing that is I could say equals min, and instead of typing that exact data range, as long as I know that that's the only data in a particular column, I could say the min of $B colon $B. When I do that, Excel recognizes that command as take everything that is in the column B and operate on it. Okay, so this is equivalent to typing in B2 to B2267 if those are the only places there are data. But for data sets where we don't know where the bottom cell is, using the $sign notation with just the letter as opposed to the letter and the number of the particular cell will help us reference large amounts of data at once. And again, if I hit enter, we'll get that same value of 1. The last option I have here is creating what's called a named range. Now, what a named range does is it creates a new sort of keyword in Excel that Excel will recognize as referring to a particular set of cells in a spreadsheet. The way we do it is highlighting a set of cells like this. I'm going to highlight B2 to B2267. And then up here in the name box, where it currently says B2, because that's where my cursor was when I started this exercise, I'm going to type the word income. When I finish typing the word income, I'm going to hit enter. And now, if I were to type equals min of income, for example, the moment I type the word income, Excel knows to highlight that range because I've created a new keyword that refers to the entire set of data B2 to B2267, except now, instead of having to remember where they are, where those data are, I can just type the word income. What I'm going to do here is the same thing for the rest of our functions. I'm just going to use the named range income for the rest of these. You can choose to execute this however is easiest for you. We're going to use the quartile function for our 25th percentile here. So I'm going to say equals quartile INC. For the array, it's asking which set of data we're interested in operating on. I'm going to say income. And then it's going to ask which quartile. Do you want the minimum value, the first quartile, the median, the third, or the maximum? We just want that first quartile in that spot. For the median value, we can use the quartile option, but we can also use the built-in median function, which instead of having to indicate which quartile, we can simply type in what data we're interested in, which for us is the income data. The 75th percentile, we're going to go back to the quartile option and say we want income, but we want the third quartile this time. For the maximum value, we can type equals max of income and get the maximum value. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of my cells from H1 to J8, and I'm going to change the format to make this easier to read. So please make sure the Home tab is selected. And when the Home tab is selected, you'll see a little $ option here. These are quick formatting options, where if you click on them, Excel is going to automatically format it in a particular way for you. Okay, so we're going to click on the numeric or the $ here, which is going to put it into an accounting format so that we can read all of these as $signs. These left and right arrows allow you to increase or decrease the number of digits after a decimal place for quick formatting. I'm just going to cut this to 0 decimals. Because we're only interested in the dollar values for this problem. For the mean, I can type in equals average of income. And lastly, we'll have the standard deviation. Now, your textbook will highlight that there are two ways of calculating the standard deviation. One refers to the population, meaning we have the entire set of data. All possible values that any variable could ever take on are included. But for most of the situations we're going to be dealing with, we'll never have the full set of data. And in most big data exercises, you won't. And so the appropriate way to calculate the standard deviation is a little bit different. Inside Excel, we need to tell it which of those two ways we're going to calculate it. So the way we do that is we say equals stdev dot. And it's going to have two options for us, P or S. P here stands for population, meaning we have all the data. S stands for sample, meaning we don't have all the data. So for us, we're going to need to use stdev.s, and then again, I'm going to say of income. With this information here, we've got the numerical descriptors that you need to know for this chapter, but we're also asked to create a histogram. So we're going to go through that and make sure everybody is fresh on that material. Again, under data, we're going to click on the data analysis toolpack, and under the data analysis toolpack, I'm going to click on the option that says histogram. Now, in a situation like this, we need to, again, identify what the input range is. That is, where are the data that we're trying to categorize into bins. And for us, we can type this a variety of different ways. Excel will still recognize the word income inside these functions here, even if it doesn't change the color and highlight this like it did previously. It still refers to cells B2 to B2267, which makes it much easier for us to quickly tell Excel what it is we're interested in. We know how to create our own bin range here, but one thing I haven't told you is that if you don't put in a bin range, Excel will come up with one for you that splits the max and min value along a regular interval. It's not as pretty and you have less control over it, but because you know how to create your own bin range, if you'd like to do that, you're certainly welcome to. For this exercise, I'm going to leave it blank. In this case, because we have no words in either our income or where the bins are, we don't need to select the box that says labels, but we do want to change the output range to be somewhere we can see it. So I'm going to put this in cell G15, and I'm going to make sure to select chart output so that I can see visually what this looks like, and then I'm going to hit OK. Once we've selected OK, I'm going to expand the histogram so that we can see exactly what our income distribution looks like. Again, we will see that it is loaded with a lot of low values, and pulled up by a handful of very high income levels. And we can see that in the numerical representation of our histogram as well. Now we might want to do a couple of things from a formatting standpoint here. First, we may want to change this to numeric, from a general numeric formatting to dollar, and we may want to reduce the number of decimals. And when we do that, it will also make our bins much cleaner to look at as well. I'll go ahead and show you how to make z-scores in Exam Results tab 1 on the next video.